everyone just be yourself. If people don't like it if you're being yourself, fuck them.
It's Big Los, and welcome to another episode of The Noize on iHeartRadio. If you haven't, go ahead and follow The Noize at The Noize Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My partner in crime is actually not going to be in today, but shout out to Hollywood Kev. I know he really wants to be here to interview our special guest. If you haven't heard, it's Black Podcast Month here on The Noize, and we are reaching all the way overseas to the UK, to London. Hopefully I'm saying the right place in England, but we'll definitely find out once the ladies get going. I have two beautiful, talented ladies, someone in the booth with me today. I want to give a big shout out and introduce the beautiful ladies of LemonShade, Claudia and Metz. How are you doing today, ladies?
Hey.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction.
Yeah, it was great. And you got it right, London.
Yeah.
It was London. Cool.
UK
Just double
representing.
checking. Definitely. Now, a little background. My father is actually from London. He's from Tottenham.
Really?
Tottenham.
Yeah.
I know Tottenham very well.
We are like 5-10 minute car drive away from Tottenham.
Yes.
And I need to get out there. He told me so much about it from when I was a kid. So he just recently went back, I want to say mid last year. I didn't get a chance to go, but I need to make my way out there. He looked like he had a ball. And it's funny. He's from Tottenham, but he's a Arsenal fan.
Oh.
Yeah, that's very controversial.
Yeah.
Now,
He doesn't want to tell people that here.
Actually, no. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me make sure I'm getting it right. Which one is the blue with the lion?
Oh, that's
Chelsea.
That's
Chelsea. Boom. There
Oh,
you
that's
go.
even worse.
I'm naming all kind of different soccer clubs. But yeah, he's a Chelsea fan. My uncle, who's also from there, he's a big Tottenham fan. So they go at it all the time.
Oh, I can imagine. It's a very controversial issue. Football is taken very seriously here.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
I try not to get involved. I'm like, I don't know anything. I'll stay out of it.
Ignorant Canadian.
Yeah.
I stay out, and I'm from America, so I really stay out of the conversation. All of our teams here are trash, so I make sure I stay as far from the conversation as possible.
All of the footballers who retire from England, they just go to the States.
Yeah, they come here and dominate. Like they love David Beckham here. He's almost like the soccer Jesus out here, honestly.
I can imagine.
Yeah, we kind of like let him go, and I'm glad he got a second life.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's been embraced.
Yeah, he's working out here at least. Again, ladies, I do appreciate you coming on the show. I really look forward to having this conversation with you all. I really enjoy listening to your show as well. Y'all, your banter is so entertaining.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks so much.
Not a problem.
It's just our friendship, I suppose. We just bounce off of each other quite easily. So
Right.
this kind of came second nature to us.
It's pretty much like how you might catch us just having drinks, having dinner, and we decided just to bring it to the masses to see if they liked it too.
Yeah,
I think that's how every great podcast starts. So as you realize, hey, we have a really good conversation, and consistently at that, we should, let's put this on the mic. Let's see what we can do with it. And I think you ladies are doing an amazing job.
I mean, I completely agree. It's the same with you and your co-host. We've heard your show, and it's the banter. It's very natural. It's really funny. It's just like eavesdropping on a dope conversation and just catching like so much jokes from two people that you don't know.
Exactly.
And then you kind of feel like you know them and you're there and laughing along, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
I've heard different people saying they're listening in on the show, and I'm pretty sure you heard the same, but they're listening in on the show and they're kind of arguing some of our points and going back and forth like they on the mic themselves. Like,
Yeah.
just listen and enjoy. But you're definitely right. It does kind of create that connection between the listener and the host of the show. And thank you again as well.
Oh, well, thank you for having us.
thank
It's a
you.
real honor, especially like so far away, Las Vegas to London. It's so cool how everyone can just connect over podcasts now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a whole community. Like I was really ignorant to it until I put together the social media pages for at least on Instagram, and just seeing all these different podcasts and the following that they have and just the connection that they have with their listeners. It's all dope. It's very dope.
I agree. And I didn't know really, we had like an idea of some of like the ones that everyone knows, like say The Read, but then getting on Instagram, it's like, it's been such a great, welcoming, overwhelming response.
Right.
And people reaching out. It's just like, it's a whole new world out there.
It really is.
And the community is growing by the day, which is beautiful.
Oh, definitely. And seeing a lot of celebrities kind of jump into it as well. They're realizing they're kind of on the latter parts of their career and some excellent stories. I wouldn't be surprised if podcasts become one of those top form of streaming medias in the very near future. I really wouldn't be surprised.
I think it's already getting up there. Like, I work in the media and broadcast, and I always get all like the research findings and everything. And actually last week they had a whole research findings about what people are listening to when they're listening to them. Mm-hmm. And podcasts now are basically at the top of the conversation next to music, and that's it. And it's growing by the day. And especially like commute home, the time at home, relaxing time. People are actually using that time now to connect with podcasts. Like, that was not the case, but it's only getting bigger.
Yeah, definitely. And it to me, it's refreshing because it seems like it's another way to ingest media and ingest news instead of just being glued to the TV. Like, actually sit down, get conversations, get perspective from different people who are just like you in a sense, you know?
Definitely. And you get the news that you would want to hear. Exactly. I think that's what it is. There's lots of people curating their own content, and it's more people like yourself. So you're bound to hear the things that you find newsworthy rather than what the media is telling you should be, paying attention to. So it's a different perspective, but it's also something fresh.
And you get the real talk, there's no sugarcoating, there's no censorship. We just say what's on our minds, and
and you answer to yourself. I
really don't want to get in trouble one day, but it's just like we're speaking our truth, basically.
Metz is afraid of being deported, basically.
That's serious. That's a serious concern I always have.
I was gonna say, I think that's like one of the funnest parts of having a podcast is pissing people off, whether intentionally or unintentionally. But Metz, you kind of got some issues on over there, so you might want to make sure you got the home still locked in.
Passport, Metz.
I'm working on it.
Oh
my God! It's a lot of work out here getting a passport for anyone trying to move overseas. Like, that is years of a slog.
Well, we're gonna push. Make sure we keep Metz in the UK.
Yes, thank you. Campaign for it.
If we do get some, some candid conversation out of you that may get you in trouble, you can definitely come on to Vegas. We'll get you on the Noize, no problem. We'll bounce you right back into the fold.
Okay,
we'll keep your listeners up.
I'll tell that to Homeland Security.
Oh yeah, they know who the Noize is. So just to kind of get into your business a little bit, tell the listeners, our ear hustlers, a little more about the LemonShade podcast.
Well, should we talk about how it started? Because actually, it was not that long ago. It was like in September, I think.
Really?
And and it was actually, we were in Amsterdam. It's going to make us sound like we have like some jet-setting life, but
and I have some questions. Trust me. When I saw that one was Canadian, the other one was British, I had questions already lined up for that. So we're going to get to that for sure.
So we were in Amsterdam, and it was Claudia's birthday, and we were with our friend Nemo. Hey, shout out to Nemo. And Claudia, I love Claudia. She always has these ideas.
Yeah.
Always with like these big ideas. And I mean, I'm not, no shade, but like they never go anywhere.
Yeah, I never see that.
And then you agree. Well, that's right.
So Claudia's like, I have a great idea. I would love to have a place for us to have our own voices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to create our own content. I wasn't sure how we were going to do it, but I was like, podcasts are like the easiest way to do it. It's quite an open forum as well. So we're kind of free to create whatever we want. So let's do it.
And I was like, yeah, okay, girl. Like, we'll see what happens. But the more I thought about it, I thought, you know what? I think I want to be involved in this too. And maybe between the both of us, we can actually make it happen. So between like Claudia's, she came up with the concept, and then I'm kind of like the more tech person. And together, I think it's a really good union of our talents and also of our friendship.
Yeah, it just kind of came naturally. And we had a WhatsApp group with our other friends called LemonShade for quite a long time. So it seemed like a natural name to use to kind of sum up our friendship. And we just thought we'd commit to at least one episode. And if we could do one episode, then we'd done it. We'd set our goals and we'd met our goal. And we're on episode like 14 now. And it's just crazy.
I'm sure
it's been amazing. It's been really a good journey so far.
So the name LemonShade, where did that come from?
Well,
we're going to sound like assholes now because...
then you're on the right show then. Let's get it going.
Well, what came up in the WhatsApp group, because it's when like Beyonce had Lemonade and all the LemonShade stuff was coming up. So it was kind of like out there. And one of our friends, she had said it in the group and we're like, that is hilarious, because we hadn't heard it before. So we named the group LemonShade after that comment that was made. And this was back when did that album come out? Like a couple years ago. And we were like, let's do the podcast. What are we going to name it? What are we going to name it? And we had all these ideas. They were whack. And we're like, we both came, like, I've been thinking about LemonShade. And Claudia's like, yeah, me too. I thought, it's got to be LemonShade.
So we kind of took the group name. We didn't ask. We should have asked beforehand. But the group were okay with it in the end, and they've been supporting us. But I mean, that group is a lot shadier than we are.
Definitely.
It's a really shady group chat. But it just made sense because me and Metz, being two Black women living in London, trying to just live our best lives, it's hard. It's hard in general for Black people anywhere. So sometimes you really do have to just take the lemons and make lemonade, and you have to just throw a little bit of shadiness and humor into certain situations to get through them. So it kind of sums it up as well. That's what we do for each other on a daily.
Okay.
And now we do it for everyone on the podcast.
So that means the group should be featuring on some of the shows coming up then, it sounds like. Because I feel like hearing this conversation, I need to hear all the assholeness of the LemonShade chat group.
I mean, it's in the pipeline. You never know.
Yeah.
We're sure to have some guests on, and our friends would make great guests, and it will be a lot shadier than our normal episodes. I can tell you that.
So make sure y'all keep your ear on LemonShade. Definitely, you got to subscribe to that one. Because a lot of people that listen to us here, I think they listen to us for our asshole comments. So it's great. It's great that there's a lane for fellow assholes, and I'm happy to be in that same lane with you ladies.
Let's hear it from the assholes.
Well, everything is out of love and kindness. We have our asshole moments, but I always like to think it's got a little bit of a touch of sugar on top.
It's all done out of kindness.
Well, there's a British euphemism, right? Because we have British people have really weird sayings. And when you are giving someone some shade or some bad news, but you're trying to do it in a nice way, it's called giving them a dog shit sandwich. It's like someone gives you a sandwich and you're like, oh my God, thanks. I was really hungry. And then it's like full of dog shit. So it's like, that's kind of what we see as shade in Britain.
So it's like we appreciate the gesture, but what the hell is this? Ultimately.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
I mean, but
they're the shadiest people. I have to just interject. I love living in Britain, but they are the shadiest people out there. They love to give you a shit sandwich, and they're so passive aggressive. It's like a beautiful art form, and I'm trying to learn every day from Claudia.
I'm not going to lie. There's been plenty of times I've been around my cousins, my uncles, and we're in a conversation. I'm like, oh, okay, so I am the American in this conversation. Okay, I hear you. I understand now. It always ends up that way. So I agree. But they're great people nonetheless. And we can't really be too upset about being assholes when these people kind of brought it on themselves.
Right?
We're just reporting. That's all we're doing, giving our POV of it.
I think I'm just saying the facts, and I'm just going to keep it real. And sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah, that it does.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to. And like we say in Britain, I'm not being funny, but that's how every conversation starts when you're about to deal someone a dog shit sandwich. But it has to be done sometimes, There's no point in bullshitting somebody. Give it to them straight, talk the tea. And sometimes it doesn't, it hurts, but in the end, they'll be okay.
And if they're smart, they'll learn from it.
Right, they'll be better from it. Exactly. We're here to heal. Podcast listeners, we are here to
We're not
heal.
Assholes. We're healers.
Exactly. Now, mentioning that you are from Canada,
yes.
Let me know, how did this connection happen? Because me being from Vegas, before I was in Vegas, I was in LA. Before I was in LA, I was in Cleveland. So I'm very domesticated here in the States. But from Canada to London, how did this connection happen between you two?
Well, it was always my dream to live in London, ever since, I guess it was I think it was the Spice Girls. I mean, I wish it was deeper than that, but I think that they put a brainwash on me when I was a teenager.
Spice Girls got everybody early.
Yeah. And I'm like, I need to move there. And it was always there. And there's a thing when you're under 30 in Canada and UK, and basically you can move here on a 2-year visa if you're under 30 without a lot of red tape. So I decided to move here, and I had no friends except for one acquaintance. And that acquaintance was so sweet. And he basically opened his home to me, and he let me live at his house.
Wow.
And he barely knew me. And I mean, God bless him. He's still, actually, we're going to his party right after this. We're still friends. So this was about 6 years ago. And
wait, aren't y'all having a party right now?
Yeah.
Y'all need to get to London. It's happening out there. I need to make my visit. I'm sorry, continue.
But basically, his name is Ryan, and he ended up meeting Claudia through another mutual friend who ended up being really shady. But silver linings is that toxic relationship brought Claudia into his life. And through that, I got to meet her. And we've known each other now for like 4 years.
Yeah, it's literally, that's kind of a London story. It's a typical London story. A friend of a friend introduced us, and now we're friends. So that's pretty much the long and short of it. It was just like an instant connection. He's good people, so I knew whoever he would introduce me to would be good people. Metz is like the best people. So yeah, our friendship's been going strong. We just seem to click and connect. We're on the same wavelength, and it's just easy, and it's always a laugh, and it's always shady, so it's always fun.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because it's like when I lived in Canada, I was like, I really want a really good British friend because I love their accents. I think it'd be cool. But actually, I didn't realize how hard it is to meet like true, genuine friends in London. So it's really a blessing. It really is a blessing that we found each other and that we just click, even though we came from different countries. And you could say that we had different upbringings, but actually it's like so much similarities.
Yeah.
And it's just, you get it, you know?
Right. Yeah, it sounds like it clicked. I mean, clicked really easy. I love hearing that kind of story.
I think we just love traveling, dancing, and drinking. And basically that was the trifecta.
Those are the best qualities of life.
True.
What's the drink? What's the drink of choice?
Oh, well, I know Metz's drink. Metz is really, really, really well known for liking Prosecco. So she's got her bougie alcohol taste. If it's got bubbles and it's sparkling, then Metz is going to drink it.
I mean, I love it so much. We put it in the podcast, like that sound in our interludes.
That's what it is?
Popping bottles.
Yeah.
It was homage to my drink.
So Metz's drink is Prosecco and my drink is everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
No, you love the cocktails. You'll drink the beers, the wines. There's nothing. The shots. There's nothing off limits, really, is there?
No, not with me. Not with me. I'll drink anything as long as it's alcoholic. That's literally the prerequisite for my choices.
Like, will it have an effect?
We're very responsible and we drink responsibly.
Sometimes.
That's for the home office, so they know I'm good people. I'm still thinking about that passport.
Got you. So they know you ain't out here just getting DUIs all over London?
I'm paying my taxes.
Got you. Okay. Now, this conversation is going to really make us best friends. How do y'all feel about dark liquor? What's your dark liquor options? See, I heard the tone.
Cavossier. Yeah. I mean, come on. The brown juice, always.
Claudia.
Always.
Your whiskeys and definitely the rum. Definitely your rum.
Rum.
I love a rum.
The fact that Claudia started with Hennessy, I'm officially locked in.
Classy drink.
We got enough. Y'all gonna be shows. Y'all gonna be guests on every other episode we have from here on out. We need to have a bottle of Hennessy and let that take control of the conversation.
Oh yes,
yes.
I'm all the way with that, definitely.
I think I want to drink now. Honestly, I mean,
I wish I could, but it's like I got a whole day ahead of me.
Right, sorry, time difference.
Right, exactly. But y'all got 2 parties to go to. I'm pretty sure that's gonna bring out all the shadiness of the rest of the night.
Definitely. I mean, we're just, it's a Saturday night here. We're looking to have some fun. We're 2 ladies in London,
and it's with the LemonShade crew.
Right,
with the crew.
Oh,
so it's going to be really fun.
It's going to be some feelings hurt tonight. Then y'all got to make sure you post that on Instagram. I need to see that.
Yes, we definitely will.
Good.
I'm not ready for Instagram stories yet. It's like I haven't been able to make that extra step.
Right.
Because I just don't. People don't need to see that. It's for your own good.
But you know what though? The theme of your Instagram page is very attractive. I really like the way you got that set up.
Seriously, Metz is the brains and the technical behind this. She also obviously is the creative, but like I'm not good with anything technical and I'm not really very good with social media. Like if you've heard some of our past episodes and the fun that's made out of me and my photo taking skills, like it's no joke. Don't let me go anywhere near a social media account. So that's all Metz. She's a genius. She really is.
So you got a lot of the random forehead pictures on social media where it's like forehead and one eyeball. You ain't get the whole face in the selfie.
She stole my own photo. She retweeted or reposted my own photo and then cut my head off. I'm like, how do you do that? Like, sorry.
Everybody is victim to the lemon shade, it sounds like. No one is off limits.
Nobody's safe.
That's great.
Sounds like unintentional shade, but the best shade also. Like, I didn't even try and be shady, but I was. So.
That's the best kind, the accidental. Like, did I do that? Oh, well, I'm getting better at it.
I gave you such cut eye. I'm like, girl, as if. But but the Instagram's actually been a lot of fun because we didn't really know what we were gonna do with it. And it kind of organically happened because I just happened to post I thought quotes were really great because I do love a quote and I find them very inspiring. And sometimes you just need a bit of those words to keep you going.
Right.
And then I do love, some nice photography and to kind of highlight an homage to the celebrities and the personalities that we feature on the show. And together it just kind of worked out. The pink, I don't know, the pink just kind of happened, but it works. So we have a lot of fun with it.
Good. I definitely enjoy seeing your posts when you guys put them up. I need to do something with the Noize. I need some kind of color scheme, but I feel like just black and white is going to end up being boring. So I'll figure it out. I'm definitely going to reach out to one of y'all. Metz,
if you need any tips, we can talk about the brand guidelines, color scheme, the grid. We'll go from there. I'm happy to help.
See, I don't
over brown liquor.
I don't think about any of that but the brown liquor, of course. In my head, I'm like, ooh, this person's twerking, putting it on the page. This person's fighting, putting it on the page. So eventually,
it's way more fun to do that because I'm always like, oh, I want to do that. I'm like, oh, I don't think it's gonna fit. I can't do it. There's a lot of restrictions.
Right.
Sometimes it's nice to be a bit freer with it.
No, it's the brand, and you ladies are branding yourself amazingly out there. I can only imagine the success you've seen from the show since you started it.
I mean, we're just so excited when we see that we have listeners in America. That was probably the most exciting thing for us because it just felt like we were connecting with a whole new audience. And It was exciting to know that, even though we're all the way here, actually we're not that different and we're going through a lot of the same stuff and we can really relate to each other. And for me, that was the most, I was really excited about that.
Yeah, it's definitely really cool as well when people just go out of their way to actually comment and say, nice post, or I'm going to listen to the podcast now, or you guys are doing a great job. It's the encouragement. And it's like every single time it happens, it's always a surprise because you just don't expect it. So we're really loving that as well and really appreciate it. It's humbling.
Definitely. I was ignorant to the community. I figured it was, podcast for everybody, but I didn't realize it was such a connected community. Once we got the Noize going on Instagram, we started getting follows from different podcasts, different conversations with other podcasts. That's actually what influenced the Black Podcast Month for us because a lot of those creators look just like me. And that made me feel great because you only hear about, the NPR and Radio 1 and all these other, basically white ran podcast, and to see black faces actually getting out there and sharing their perspective on life, and people are agreeing and of all colors at that. It's amazing. It's such a great community.
I think in the States it's really taken off, and my goal is really to help the UK kind of get a similar community going. Because we do have listeners in the UK, but it's not like there are more podcasters that are really kind of getting out there and connecting. So, I mean, I just think it's so great what's going on there. And we're just honored to be a part of that. And hopefully we can just get even more people in the world connected, including the UK, and just keep growing.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we don't have a more kind of open black podcast community here. There are so many great UK black podcasts, but I guess they're just not as great at connecting with each other, I suppose, because we don't really get that many black UK podcasts commenting or following or reaching out. It's really the love is coming from on the US side.
So that means you ladies need to take a trip. Come on out to Vegas. Everyone comes to Vegas at least once. Come on out to Vegas.
God,
we'll
I have
get
already
the brown
planned
going.
my Vegas trip. It's Vegas 2022.
Oh my
goodness. 40th birthday. I've just aged myself now. Everybody knows. But I'd love to come sooner, but I'm definitely coming Vegas 2022. It's going to be, I want to go all out.
That's so far ahead.
In the movies.
You need a practice run. You got to come out here, make the mistakes, have your little hangover moment, go back knowing what not to do, and then come on back and do it right. It's the 40th at that. Come on now.
I agree. I think we need to do a pre-40th trip, because I'd have the hangover moment. One of us goes missing for 48 hours. Someone turns up with a monkey, tattoo face. I don't know. We just need to do that and get it out the way so we can really turn up for the 40th.
But I heard that do they actually pump oxygen in the casinos? Is that a real thing?
It's not oxygen. It's
cocaine.
More than likely cocaine. I think that's what keep people up. No, listen, it's grimy how they do in the casinos. Like, there's no windows, so you can never tell what time it is. So you could be sitting in one area for 18 hours just dropping bands. And then once you get up, oh, it's Thursday? Okay, what happened?
What?
Where did that come from? But they pump like this, it's like, I want to say like special kind of air or whatever that's like scented to kind of keep it kind of pleasant in there. Now, there are some casinos out here that don't do that. And you walk in, it just smells like cigars and ass all over the place. So
like cigars, ass, and desperation.
Exactly, cigars, ass.
Like,
that's more than likely a child support check here and there, maybe. But the smell is all over the place. But
oh my God,
if you do come, you got to keep it real centric on the Strip. That way, you're gonna have a somewhat pleasant gambling experience.
I think you need to be our tour guide because we were so green. We just end up in probably the worst situation ever. I could just see it now.
I'm with it. If you're going downtown, just be prepared because downtown smells like everyone there just ran there from their respective homes. Like everyone just took off running, got their cardio in, and all met at downtown. It's one of the worst smelling places ever.
Well, that's like rush hour when you're going home on the tube here. That's a standard day, so I'm sure we can handle it.
You all right? Yeah, I saw some videos of the. You said it's called the tube out there, the train system out there?
Yeah, it's the tube, and it's like an Olympic sport, basically. To get out alive and on time.
See, like dealing with what I've dealt with here in the States, I would be too, ready to jump off. Just being in the tube like that. It just seems like everyone becomes best friends in the tube.
Oh my God, it's like I've seen it go down on the tube, and wow. I'm not talking about friendship. I've seen old women yelling at men, being like, "Don't touch me."
You see people fighting. You might see the odd like rat. Someone will be throwing up. This is like all before 9 a.m. in the morning.
Oh wow. My God, because it's crazy. So people here love to drink like beyond. And one girl I saw in the morning, because everyone goes to work. They still go to work. That's the rule. You got to get messed up. You got to go to work. And this girl had a really nice purse, and she had it on her lap, and I saw her, and she didn't look like she was doing too well, and she just opened her purse, and she just threw up in it, and she closed it, and that was it.
And this is on her way to work?
That's all in a day's work. It's just another day on the tube. That is just a normal story. That is...
See, that kind of sounds like the BART out in San Francisco, the Oakland area. You're guaranteed to get some kind of show on the way, whether it's like a legit show of break dancers and, pop lockers and everything like that, or you're going to get a legit show of a homeless drunk dude taking on a homeless meth head or whatever. Those are probably some of the saddest, funniest fights you'll ever see in your life because it's slow, but it's long. Like, they'll give you a heavyweight bout, low-key. You're going to get something good out of that fight.
Sounds fun. Sounds delightful.
I mean, it sounds like not too different from what happens probably on a Saturday night on the night bus. It's all very entertaining, very interesting.
See, it's going to be a good time when you ladies come out. I can't wait for this, for us to all link up and have a great one.
Start planning it. I'm starting to plan it. I'm going to go on the website. I'm going to find the tickets. It's going to be lit.
Perfect, we love to travel, so any excuse, and we'd definitely love to come out and visit and have you as a tour guide. So yeah, very, very, very fun.
Oh, yeah, me and Hollywood Kev, we got you. To kind of double back to something you touched on in your podcast explanation, is having more Black creatives dealing with podcasts or really any form of content creation. How important do you think it is to have Black voices represented in this millennial era of content creation?
I think it's the most important because now more than ever, we can share this information. I mean, when I was a kid, it was not even on the radar, like no way. And now we have an opportunity to share our voice, share our point of view. I mean, for us particularly, we're women, we're Black, we're in the working world, we work in media, we work in London. And there's a lot of things that no one tells you. There's no rule book, guidebook. We're kind of just out here winging it every day. Mm-hmm. And it seems to be working because our careers are getting better. We're getting more successful. And I felt like I had a bit of responsibility to tell my story and also to tell it with Claudia because we don't know all the answers, but sometimes you just need someone to tell you that.
Right.
And that's kind of where we are with this. And I think every day I learn from her. I think she learns from me, and then we learn from others. And so telling her story, I'm hoping, is empowering people, giving them inspiration, giving them confidence, and also showing them like, yeah, you can be a grown up, but you might not have all the answers, but you can still be successful at it. And that's quite big for me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the most important. I mean, just on a base level, just having people like yourself doing something that maybe you never thought you could ever do, and you see someone else doing it, you're like, wow, okay, it's possible. That in itself is the most powerful thing. It also represents the world. I think there's too much in the media, fashion, music, where you aren't seeing Black people represented positively either.
Right.
Or you're not hearing a true Black voice. And I think that's the most important thing. Having Black people speaking their truth, not holding back, not being censored. That's also really important. So I think it's definitely the most important thing that Black people continue to create their own content, unedited, uncensored, and just doing the true them.
Man, it's more than important, honestly. It's having that opportunity to basically go up against the best. Like when you hear about the legends in radio, when you hear about the legends just in multimedia in general, a lot of them don't look like us. So to have people, jumping in and actually getting involved and diving into a media that almost seems like it wasn't built for us, and then capitalizing on it and making it their own, and just creating this popularity that's really it isn't seen, with people of color. So I think is really important. So I appreciate your insight on that one.
I mean, it's us working in the media. I can see it firsthand, like working in advertising, see what happens behind closed doors. It really gets you pissed off. I'll be honest. Like some of the meetings that you sit in on when you're in the industry and you're like the only person of color in the room, the only woman in the room, and they're talking all of this absolute shit. And you're rolling your eyes being like, I can't believe that we're having this conversation. And it's also having an outlet to talk about those experiences.
Right.
Because yes, there are no people telling the stories, and when you go behind the scenes, you realize why, and it makes you want to do it even more, and also kind of expose the truth of what's going on and why things are like that.
Right. And I agree. That's actually one of the reasons why I started this Beat Network family. It's hearing all the Noize, at least when I got out of grad school. I got my master's in multimedia communications, and that's where the influence came to start the podcast. But when I started Beat Network, I got tired of hearing the Noize, hearing the, even though I've worked with nonprofit organizations, I've worked with artists and everything like that, it's still saying, oh, the school experience that you have, it doesn't really count. So I figured, instead of trying to get a yes from someone else, I just create my own lane and run down it, and take my people with me.
I think that's the best way to do it. And I think a lot of the successful people, and even in the media that we know, like Jennifer Lewis, who I love Jennifer Lewis, and we're just watching a clip of her being like, I wasn't getting the roles, I was going auditions, I wasn't getting the roles, so I made up my own role, I made up my own content, and now look, she's super successful.
Right.
It's like, that's what you have to do. And we're so lucky we live in this time with the internet, with technology, that you can actually be your own broadcaster. Like, that's actually crazy when you think about how hard it was to share information, like even 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And now it's like you have your own radio network. It's crazy.
Right. And
I think it's it comes down to people who are already doing it. Again, like you see people like yourself, and you realize it is possible. I mean, I personally was influenced on creating the podcast by a lady named Michaela Cole. I don't know if you guys know her out there. She's a Black actress. She's been like hitting the heights of fame and success. And she created her own show, wrote it, directed it. And I was obsessed with this show, Chewing Gum. And it was just watching the show and realizing she did that. You know it.
Yeah, that's a great show.
Isn't it amazing?
I wasn't ready for it because like it had a lot of conversation out here, and everyone's gotta watch Chewing Gum, and then I watched it. I'm like, oh shit, we're going right into it. Let's
right.
We're not building up to it. There's no foreplay. We straight to it. Now it's a great show, amazing show.
Yeah, that influenced me, and I was like, you know what? I might not create my own show, but I can create my own content. I can create something myself. And the podcast was like the most logical route to go down. So it's just seeing someone doing it. It makes you realize it's possible.
Now with I'm gonna be completely honest, and I'm pretty sure y'all already know, Americans are very ignorant to what's not going on in America. So with our most experience coming from the artists that's come from the UK, the Craig Davids, the Spice Girls, the Ed Sheerans, you know. And before I even get to that point, are y'all excited for the Spice Girls coming back? Like, or was that just big here?
I'm serious. I am actually. I mean, I wasn't joking when I think that they are part of why I became an Anglophile. Like, it was real. I'd just never seen anything like it. I was just mesmerized.
And like being British, and having the Spice Girls growing up, yes, I know the words to every single song, hands down. So yeah, super excited, and we will be bagging some tickets and going to see them, I'm sure.
Oh, well, boom, there it is. The UK is excited for the Spice Girls to come back. We thought it was just the States. Getting back to my point, how is it, just to kind of educate the people who are ignorant to, you know, the culture out there, especially being black women, you know, is there any hurdles that you have to go through, that you have to jump over as black creatives overseas? I mean, just as black women in general, like, what's the culture like out there?
I feel like it's the same as everywhere. There's no holy grail to success. It's still really, really difficult, especially in the creative industries. If you wanted to say like the mainstream money-making creative industries, because I work in them and I see there's just underrepresentation massively, hugely. And it's so bad that they actually are now making programs to get more diverse young people into the industries, not because, I mean, not just out of the kindness of their heart, but they are saying that because it's not a good representation of the audience, actually, they're not going to make money selling the creativity because it's not going to be creative enough, because it's all the same idea, because it's all the same people. So it's really difficult here. And I think we'd face, and maybe that's why we do get a lot of American listeners, because they can understand it's kind of like the same thing in a way. We're going through a lot of the same struggles. Sometimes it's not as, I guess the racism isn't as blatant, perhaps.
More microaggressions, definitely, than overt racism here. But like, again, it's the same struggles, being black women, being perceived in a certain way, seeing yourself on TV, being perceived in a certain way, you know, especially when it comes to the workplace and, you know, wanting to speak up and am I going to be seen as the angry black woman, you know?
Right.
So what tell me the story when you were working somewhere and the white girls were like, hey, wagwanin?
Yeah, so I'm Jamaican. And once they realized I was Jamaican, just in passing, I just mentioned my Jamaican grandmother because I've got so many anecdotes. The next day I come in and I'm like, morning. And she's like, wagwan. And I'm like, okay. And then they all started doing it every single day. And it's like, I've never said that, number one. So you need to stop. But it's stuff like that. It's just like you're always singled out. When you are the only black person, that's when this stuff happens. And sometimes it's kind of harmless like that, but sometimes it's not. So,
and I think sometimes there isn't as much of the history taught, say, for example, I was working somewhere and this guy I know, they have these summer parties here and it's like what rich people do in their country homes. Yeah. But like that is those are the people I'm working with. It's like real. There really are these people that exist. And he was like, yeah, I had a great party. It was a summer party. The theme was Jamaica. And they all, I swear to God, they all wore dreadlocks and put on blackface. Seriously. And I'm like, I had to tell him, I said, dude, this is highly offensive. And I told him why. And he just didn't know. He's just clueless. And sometimes we have to deal with that kind of stuff here because there isn't as much education. So we're kind of having to give them a crash course when we've already been severely offended. It's already gotten to that point. So it's a bit different maybe in that sense. But I guess since I have only been to the States like a few times and gone on holiday, I don't really know like what it's really, really like there.
It sounds like it mirrors what you guys got going on out there. I remember going out one Halloween and this dude, he was white guy, of course, and he was in full blackface, had the dreadlocks, and then he had a shirt with bullet wounds in it with blood, little blood splatters or whatever. And he was getting into it with a black dude, and he said, all right, what are you supposed to be? And his response was just black.
No.
I promise you. Like that's when the mighty stomping of 2016 ended up happening, because he ended up getting stomped out clean in the middle of the street.
Well, like that is to me that's still shocking, because it's like you definitely knew better, but you just didn't care.
Right.
Yeah.
You were welcoming the problem. Just kind of wrap up the interview portion of this. What's next for the podcast?
Oh, wow. Well, I guess we haven't even thought of that. I think we keep shaking on amounts of episodes, to keep us motivated. So we had the first episode, we shook on 8. I think we shook on like 16, but that's like in a couple months. I think we'd like to keep growing on more platforms as well, because right now we're in SoundCloud and iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
Would like to keep growing on different platforms, also just get more exposure online, maybe do more SEO, just tighten up our online game a bit more, continue with Instagram, and I guess in a few months we'll kind of go from there. But right now we're just really enjoying getting to hang out once a week, actually, because in London you never see your friends. And getting the response we're getting so far has just been so motivating, exciting. So that's kind of what I think. What do you think?
I mean, I'm down like for the same, but I think I have like a secret little wish. And I said at some point in the future, I'd love to have a segment where we actually get like listeners' letters and we get to speak to people who are like us, because there's lots of Black women who are like the only one in their company, and especially in media. So a lot of the stuff we talk about, we relate to our work experiences, and sometimes you do feel a bit lost when there isn't another Black woman in your company you can confide in about a certain situation at work. So it'll be great to have women like us who are in those situations reach out and ask for advice, because we give each other advice all the time, and it'll be great to pass that knowledge on and to let them know that you might be the only one in your company, but you're not the only one going through it.
Right.
So that would be like my little dream, I suppose.
Well, let's make it a reality.
Might as well.
That's a good idea. She's the brains in the content, as you could tell.
I mean, why not just start it up? You already got a really great following on Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's great on the other social media platforms. Why not just, start the mailing list, give them somewhere to send it?
Yeah, I think we should maybe put out a little disclaimer on our next episode and just be like, are you the only Black person at work? Do the white people you work with piss you off? Send us a letter.
I think we should. And if anyone's listening, you can email us at lemonshade.podcast@gmail.com.
And trust me, all of my listeners are assholes. So they have plenty to say. So y'all go ahead and shoot those emails out, y'all. Ladies, that was, I loved hearing about the history of the show and just the history of your friendship. I do want to get your opinion on some of the things going on in pop culture right now. More so, music, entertainment. Now, of course, obviously, y'all are human and y'all have regular people TV. So I'm pretty sure you've seen what's been going on with Quincy Jones and
yes, we have.
Him recently telling some stories.
I'm loving it, spilling the tea.
Just to kind of catch everybody up, just in case, they didn't hear. Quincy Jones said that Michael Jackson stole. He says he stole music, one of the songs being Billie Jean. He also said that the Beatles were the worst musicians in the world. I mean, with the Migos coming up and tying them, so it could be. Who knows? What else did he say?
He said that Marlon Brando had sex with Richard Pryor, Marvin Gaye, and
James Baldwin.
James Baldwin.
Yeah.
Oh, he said he went on a date with Ivanka Trump.
Oh yeah, with Trump's daughter as well, and that was a really crazy age difference from when he was talking about it happened. I guess let's start from the top. How do you feel about him saying those things about Mike? Like, Mike is world-renowned, everyone's favorite artist. Like, how do you feel about the statement he made about Mike and his music?
Well, I think if you hear all of the media attention that statement got, and it's really blown way out of proportion.
Right.
I think as an 85-year-old producer, he's been there, he's seen it all, and he
was
literally telling the truth. And yes, Michael did slow down the song. Also, Quincy probably had a hand in it as the producer.
More than likely.
But if it was, I don't think it was a steal, it was a borrow, because if it had been so obvious, we would have figured it out before this, to be honest. And a lot of he created something iconic out of a slowed down other track. He took something and he created something new. So my personal opinion is it was a borrow. And Quincy's just telling us the tea. He was just giving us a history lesson on the song.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I think as well, it's not uncommon in music for people to sample things, to take things and remix them, rehash them. So yeah, I mean, he's not really saying anything that most people in the music industry don't already know.
I think it's just how he approached it, saying Michael Jackson stole. Like, when you think about artists stealing, you automatically think of Elvis, but people don't look at the the sampling quality, you know, of music. I mean, Kanye made a career off of it.
Yeah,
No, so
I think, I mean, all of everything basically since jazz was a ripoff.
Oh, yeah.
I think as an 85-year-old, he was not trying to mince his words. He was literally just saying it like stream of consciousness style.
And plus, they say
the delivery.
Plus, they say good artists borrow, great artists steal.
Right. I mean, he could have put it in. He could have used different words, and I think his attitude could have been different. But like he's in his 80s. He doesn't give any more fucks. Like his fucks are a distant memory, you know. So he's just gonna tell it like it is,
Ran
and
out of
that's
fucks
fine
easily a
by
decade
me.
ago. No, I totally agree. You know, saying that it's stealing, you know, is what it is. But you know, like you said, he ran out of fucks more than likely 10 to 12 years ago.
But you know, stealing it's I don't know, it's a matter of opinion. I mean, you could say it's sampling, you could say it's stealing. Intellectual property in music is a hot topic. I mean, it's hard to prove all the time, but I think in this case, Michael, I think he's fine. You know, also he's dead, so.
Yeah, I say it can't get no worse than that right now. I mean, and Michael survived the times. I mean, for 20 years they were saying he was touching little boys. So little stealing, they'd rather this than other stuff that they were talking about he was doing.
He's been accused of worse. So.
Exactly. The big thing that I'm hearing the most conversation about is the Marlon Brando sleeping with Richard Pryor, James Baldwin, Marvin Gaye. The crazier part was Richard Pryor's widow coming out and saying, you know, it's true. Now,
well, I tell you, what's even crazier than that, his daughter coming out and corroborating and saying, yes, I'm also saying it's true.
Wow.
But you know what? We were talking about this actually before. It was back in the day. Everyone was just on all the drugs and they were just free love and free living.
Everybody was fucking everybody. No, I agree.
Right. It's like, it's not a big deal. Like, they're making it much more of a big deal because, like, the way he said it in the interview, he's like, yeah, so he slept with Marvin Gaye. Yeah, he slept with Pryor. Anyway, do you like Brazilian music? Like, he's not even clocking that this is going to be a thing.
It's so true. And like I said, back then, it was really a free-for-all. Anything went. Because there wasn't social media. There was no camera phones. So people were a lot freer. They could get away with a lot more. And like they were all on drugs. They were like a couple of quaaludes away from being gay, you know? Right. So it doesn't really make any difference.
It was part of the time. It was definitely a part of the time.
It was, yeah. And, you know, again, people making more stories out of this. Like, you're going to have 10, 12 more news stories with way more words to try and tell the story of him literally just saying like a couple phrases. Yeah, they slept together, you know, kind of. I think they're blowing it out of proportion. Maybe it's just like, you know, just something to report on.
I don't think it's the shock of finding out that it was going on because Richard Pryor, he was pretty open about his life in general. And sexuality was definitely one of them. So I don't think that's necessarily the shock. It's the fact that, it's like you say, you got this 85-year-old dude, and he just decided, you know what? It's Wednesday. I want to say some shit. Let's go ahead and shake the world up one time. You know, I think that was the biggest surprise because that was information no one was expecting, thought about. You know, they never saw it coming, so it was super left field.
Well, the thing is, I've said this before, like Quincy Jones, no one has really heard him speak or in the media for ages. He was like sitting in his old ass house with his old ass self, minding his old ass business. But if someone comes to you on a Wednesday and is like, hey, Quincy, we haven't heard from you in a while. Tell us some stories. Like that's all he did. That's all he did. Nobody 85 years old who's a normal person, despite Quincy Jones, like any old person, you go to their house and you give them a chance to speak. If you haven't spoken for ages, you're just going to spill everything.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. He had some company and he thought, right, now's the time.
Yeah, and that Vulture reporter's like, hey, I got the hot topic tonight.
I can only imagine his face when he started talking like, oh, I'm about to get some shit out of him. Who else was fucking? And really looking at it, it really is one of those sitting down with your grandparent and they just giving you the story of back in the day. I know with you saying that you were that you're Jamaican, Claudia. My grandmother, she's from Guyana, So I know West Indian grandparents, they can go.
Hey, Micah, mine too. That's where my family's from.
Oh, see?
Yeah, my dad's side. Hey, represent.
We're all connected. You know, so if anything, he's had a little
Yeah.
West Indian go off for a little bit, and, you know, kind of included some of the biggest names in entertainment. So with
That tends to happen.
right. With that, do you think the information may have altered opinions on some of these legends?
I think it would have shocked a lot of people. I don't think it will really alter opinions. And I think, again, part of it is because these people are like passed away now. If they were still alive, then people would have questions to ask and they'd be more interested. But it's just like a nugget of information that they found out that maybe is just like a bit shocking, but people will forget about it by tomorrow. Like, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's that big a deal. We've progressed so far as well that we have, you know, people being more sexually fluid. So it's not as shocking really anymore to find things like this out because people are doing it more and more now anyway.
Right.
And these people being celebrities and having this image of them, that's why it might shock. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's anything that's really going to cause people to change their views on these people.
That's why I'm so curious about the Freddie Mercury movie that's coming out. Like, being that we've advanced so much as people, how far they're going to really dig into his life. Because ultimately, making a Freddie Mercury movie is almost like making a porno.
I didn't know they're making a movie. That is so exciting.
Yeah. What's the movie? What's the TV show? What's it called? Mr. Robot. You heard of that one?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
The lead guy from Mr. Robot is playing Freddie Mercury. Like, you can find the pictures of him online as him. He looks just like the guy.
Talking about, yeah, he does. Just slap a moustache on him, done. That's really exciting to hear. We had no idea. So yeah, that's another thing we need to look into. It'll be juicy. That movie will be very juicy.
Oh, yeah, very much so. It's going to be controversial at that, which is interesting because, like you said, we've advanced so much that seeing something like that should be the norm at this point. Just
I feel like
really extreme
also
norm.
Claudia and I live in a bit of a bubble sometimes, and it's very like open, progressive. We just live in such a, I guess we're lucky that we can do that. And sometimes I do think we forget about how the rest of the world, sometimes they're just not as caught up as we are.
Right. You know, you can make America go crazy really easy.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's evidence every day, so I see that.
Well, again, ladies, I definitely appreciate you coming on the show. Really great information. We have to do this again, especially when y'all come to Vegas and get the practice on for the 40th. I'm going to make sure we have the wine bottles ready.
Pool party.
Of course. Oh, you got to make sure that's like around June time. We do get a little cold during the winter time. But actually, no, this winter hasn't really been that bad. Like, we're 75 right now, which is weird.
I mean, that global, I don't know what that means because we have Celsius.
Right, exactly.
This global warming, I mean, it's maybe has some upsides, so we're down for the pool party.
At least for the winter, but June time in Vegas, the sun leans on you like it's literally like a backpack. It just sits there and it just gives you all of its natural sun element. But again, ladies, I appreciate you coming on. Go ahead and let the people know where they can find you, where they can find the show, the whole nine.
You can find us on SoundCloud at LemonShade. If you search that, also on iTunes, you can search LemonShade. You can find our podcast there. We're on Instagram, LemonShade_podcast. And if you have any questions, comments, or advice, you can email us at lemonshade.podcast@gmail.com.
Very concise.
Yeah, straight to the point. We have too many tags to plug, so give me one moment. You can find us at The Noize Podcast on all social media sites. You can also follow Beat Network at Beat_Network on Twitter, at Beat Network on Instagram, and Beat Network on Facebook. Also go to the website, beatnetworkonline.com. We're going to be launching the new one pretty soon, so definitely stick with us there, ear hustlers. Claudia, Metz, it has been real. I greatly appreciate your appearance, and I wish you ladies the best with your show.
Thank you so much. It was such a blast to be on, and just thank you so much. And we'll keep in touch. I'll see you in Vegas.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's been so fun. Thanks so much for having us.
Just do me one solid. At each party y'all about to go to tonight, I need 3 shots for me. At each party.
Oh no, that's a given. We're doing 3
party.
shots before we even get there.
See, I appreciate you so much for that. Thank you again, the ladies of the LemonShade podcast. Thank you for coming through. And to the ear hustlers, as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we appreciate your support. And as always, it's Big Los. It's the Noize.